Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to an episode of the Kansai Collective. Today we'll be interviewing our man Josh, talking about what it's like to work in a Japanese corporate and some of your story going from Texas to the military to Japan and all of his things on the journey of how he got to where he's at. So if you guys want to learn about working in Japan, tune in this episode and we'll see you soon.
Kansai Collective, west side of Japan, we out here coolin', Zane and Nasa got connections. We know you got questions.
It's been a bit of a headache, but what's not a headache is more episodes of the Kansai Collective. Welcome everyone. I need to move my coffee off this little mat before I cause a problem. Guys, thank you for joining us. It's Asa Questenberry, the host of Kansai Collective. Joining me as always, my man on the right.
Yo, I think don't let the clothes make you. Make the clothes, you feel me? Ace is killing it today. Check out
By
the
request.
steez.
The people wanted something, so we had to dress up a little bit. I wear lots of t-shirts, so I had to show that I can put together something.
Really, like the suit like gives you a whole new personality. You
this is
talking
the
real
business running
smooth,
suit.
my boy.
Arigato.
That's like the billionaire, young billionaire invest in me
Boys
swag.
Club. Give us a sponsor, the BBB, Billionaire Boys.
Anyway, yo, it's Zane. It's your boy, man. Kansai Collective. Yo, we didn't shoot last week. It was a
been a
little
while.
sad,
It's been a little bit of time,
but
yeah.
today we're gonna shoot.
We are shooting.
We
got
are
lots
shooting.
more
We are
coming.
live, and we brought my homie Josh from
Hello.
Kyoto, baby.
From Kyoto.
Yep.
Okay.
Straight from Kyoto, middle of the city.
Middle of the city.
Yep,
What?
middle of the city.
Okay.
Yep, live by Nijo Station right now.
Ooh.
That's like right by Karasuma.
2 stations down is Karasuma Oike.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was just in there.
Is that off the JR?
That's off of the subway.
Subway,
Yeah.
Nijo, a very popular castle.
Love it. Love it. Joshua,
Kyoto.
thank you for joining us, man. Give a little background, man. Where are you
Thanks for having
from?
me.
Where you're at in Kyoto? Tell us a little about yourself, brother.
So I'm originally from the U.S., from Dallas, Texas.
Yeehaw! Sorry,
Howdy,
I
yeah.
had to do that. I had to do
wanna-
that.
I
I
wanna
All
had
the
to do that.
stereotypes. All of them.
I want a soundboard. We need a soundboard where we can just collect goofy sounds. I
Yeah.
need to get Zane's yeehaw.
I've just
that I
gotten
can
to the
just
point where I
press.
embrace stereotypes.
Big
I
vibes.
imagine when you tell Japanese people you're from Texas.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh, I can't. I can only
Where's your
imagine.
cowboy hat? Do you ride horses to work?
Right. Yeah. I
Yeah.
imagine there's a ton, dude.
It's pretty funny.
It's like all the stereotypes we bring to Japan.
But the one stereotype that I think holds true is like everything's bigger in Texas.
just like your heart.
Definitely,
Yes.
vehicles,
Vehicles.
massive,
Massive.
overcompensatingly massive.
Oh, really?
Insanely
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah, if someone's riding you on the highway, it's most likely like a souped-up F-150 Ford.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
with
That's
like cattle, like a pusher on the front and the floodlights up top. Yeah.
It's
That's
real
what you do.
American cowboy right there.
Pro tip, by the way, you just angle your mirror so the lights go back into them. Then they'll leave you alone.
There you go.
Seriously?
There you
Yeah, because it'll blind them.
Oh, that's crazy.
You hit him with the reverse Uno card. Like,
Yep,
"Ha,
exactly.
right back at you.
There's some pro tips right there. Yeah.
Okay.
So okay, Josh. So you're from Dallas. We always get all the standard foreigner questions out of the way. How long you been here in Kansai?
Right, so I kind of come back and forth. The first time I came here was for study abroad. I went to Ritsumeikan. It's a pretty big university.
Very true.
In 2015 for half a year.
Nice.
That's where I learned Japanese. I went back to my university. From then on, I came back every couple months, and then I did job hunting, and then I got a job, and then since 2018, I've been here, so more than 4 years now. Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on, yeah. So it seems like we're just gonna dive straight into what the topic is today, because I wanted to touch on the fact of working in a Japanese company.
As a foreigner, right?
Yo, you went to Ritsumeikan. Let me just tell the people, Josh's Japanese is definitely near native level. I haven't heard you in a while, but it's very smooth, and he's
Thanks
very
for the
good.
flattery.
No, he's very good. And yeah, you work full time in a Japanese company, all Japanese. Like you're the only foreigner.
No, there is in my department right now. There's 2 more foreigners, but yeah, I'm the only American. I'm the first American in the entire history of the company, and they've been around since 1875.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's gonna be
We're
the
sinking. We need
Yes.
the
spicy,
soundboard.
spicy.
We need the sound.
All right, so but
awesome.
you go to Ritsumei-kan. That's in Kyoto, right?
Yeah. So they have a lot of campuses, but their main campus is up by the famous Kinkakuji.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Very cool.
How did you find out about Kyoto? Like,
Yeah, what's their mindset
In
going
Texas,
from,
bro?
from Dallas?
How did you-
to be like,
So-
I need to get out of here.
So I was an international business major, and I took the international track, which means two things. You have to study a foreign language, and I was already studying Japanese, and you have to study abroad, or you don't graduate.
hold on. First, let me just dive in again from Texas,
Been dived in.
where there is no Japanese.
That's actually
Like-
not true.
I was gonna say
Oh,
Dallas.
really?
I was
There's
gonna
a-
say Japan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, word?
Texas is pretty diverse. They got a lot of. Yeah,
okay.
they got.
Houston
Well, to learn
is where the
Japanese, though.
Japanese consulate is. They have like Japanese schools there. And in Dallas recently, they have a big Japanese community. Like they have like a Japanese town. You can get kaiten sushi and all that.
Oh wow,
There's
kinda
a-
new, but yeah.
There's a lot like along like Texas has got so many international companies based in it.
That's so crazy. I'm sorry, Texas, for prejudging you. I mean, I've been there once, but wow, you're
obviously
more
you didn't dive
diverse
into the
than
local community.
But okay, so people learn Japanese out there. Americans.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, there are two schools that provide it. There's UTA and then UNT, and I went to UNT. So yeah.
Because I remember in high school and stuff, I could learn like Spanish, French, Latin. You know what I'm saying? But never like an Eastern language.
Yeah,
talking about
on
university,
university, yeah.
On
In high school, we didn't have that option.
Oh, okay. All right, so
They don't pay high school teachers. They can't teach.
So you learned Japanese, and you went to Ritsumei-kan, which is a very prestigious school, and then you were like, I like
right.
Kyoto, and I want to see what the work life is, or like
Yeah, what was
why
the
did you
process
just
for that?
yeah.
Yeah, you got half that right. So I did like living in Japan. It was just
Understandable.
lots of input, just like it's quite lively city and very convenient. I loved that.
You're talking about Kyoto?
Yeah, just Japanese cities in general.
General, right,
But
right.
yeah, I'm a big history fan too, and so Kyoto's awesome.
Right, thanks.
My boy.
The other half is I was an international business major, and I wanted international business experience. And if I could get that right off the bat, that's awesome. Like from
Checking all
a
the
resume
boxes. Right.
point of view, yeah.
Did you have any troubles like applying for jobs, like job searching?
Right. So I expected to be turned down by companies literally just because I was a foreigner. So
Wait, so you knew? I'm sorry, because you were a foreigner, like you knew. So you knew there was like prejudice, or like what? Why did you
hesitancy.
go in?
Yeah.
Yeah, why did you go in there thinking that already? How did you know that going in there? You know what I'm saying?
I guess I already lived for half a year and I already picked that vibe up. So
I think it's just probably from living here, right?
yeah, of course it's not everyone, but we're talking business.
Okay.
They got to provide a visa and everything, and
Yes. Very different.
yeah. So I just pushed through numbers. Yeah, I just hustled really. I applied for more than 100 companies, and most Japanese. I have friends that did like 3 only, and I did more than 100. So I got accepted by a couple of companies, but I chose a company up in Kyoto. It's a biotechnology company.
All right, so let's just
is
tap
it-
into this. That
Yeah.
my boy, if you guys want to work out here, you can't be lazy. You got to hustle. Hustle is definitely huge. I feel like anywhere, but
Right.
he applied for 100 different jobs, and he just played the numbers game.
Yeah, I did not sleep during that time, really, because job hunting in
grinds.
Japan is not like the U.S. where you just throw resumes around.
Okay, so
You-
please expand on that.
So the
That's
first
an
part,
interesting angle, yeah.
yeah, for the first part, it's just you have to take all these tests.
Okay.
A minimum of 3 tests. It's usually you have a math test
Per company?
per company.
Is this depending on the role, the job role you're applying for?
It can, yeah, but there's 3 tests that are like the same for like every company. It's like a math test, a literacy, like a Japanese test that Japanese also take, and like another like critical thinking, like reading test. And then on top of that, you might have, I found some weird ones with like SoftBank and stuff. They had like creativity tests and personality tests.
So again, sorry to cut you off, bro.
No, you're
This is
good.
very interesting, but I just want to make sure that people are understanding where you're coming from. He's doing this all in Japanese.
Yep.
Nihongo pera pera da yo.
Yeah,
So it's a whole different experience. You know what I'm saying? It's like
another level of stress. Yeah.
it's another level of stress. It's a different process, something that you're familiar with, but it's in a different country. Their culture is different, their language is different.
And the tests are timed.
Oh, and there's a time
There's a time limit. Yeah.
Props to your Japanese dude. I would have had a panic attack and just like.
Yeah, sometimes those tests finish and you're just like, okay.
So what you were just, so your big motivation was, okay, if I can get this on my resume, then this is going to be good for my career?
I'm kind of like adventurous. I like new stuff. I'm the type of guy that when you go to like the convenience store, if there's something I've never seen before, I buy that.
Okay.
Like I like new stuff. So
Every day.
I was like, so living abroad, that sounds cool. Adventure, okay, you know.
Yeah, Japan is definitely an
Are
adventure.
you a One Piece fan?
Not really.
Oh,
Thank you.
What a bummer.
See, we can just pick
What
the
a
nerd
bummer.
out of Asa now.
Nakamaninatai.
Don't let the suit fool you. You
Yeah,
feel me?
No, it's adventure, man. You gotta, if you guys want adventure, watch One Piece. Do yourself a favor, please.
I'm not like most guys who likes Japan because of anime. Anime came quite late to me, actually. Yeah, but
By the way, ladies, my boy is single. He is adventurous. He likes to try new things. So, if
Great in bed.
Exactly right. That's one thing you
I'll let
want
them
as an
speak for me.
adventurous person.
Great in bed. Excellent.
He takes math, science, creative tests.
He's the full
Nerd.
package. Full package. He's not a One Piece fan, though. So that's kind of a red flag. Anyway, so cool, man. So you've needless to say, you've been around the block. You've studied here. You've lived here. You've traveled here. Now since 2018, I imagine you've worked for Japanese corporate.
All right, so boom, you started working you picked this company.
Are you gonna say dive in?
Let's dive in.
I thought that's the phrase of this episode. We're gonna dive in.
Nah, you know what the phrase.
Every time he says
you know
dive,
what
he
the
has to take a
phrase is. So you find the company you want to work for. You know what I'm saying? You said it's a biotech. I have no understanding of what that means, but biotech company. You know what I'm saying? And how did you feel once you got in there first day? What did you wear, bro? What was you thinking when you stepped in?
So first day, my outfit really hasn't changed. It's a suit every day. Yeah, that's what it is.
Have you gone? At what point did you go from like SpongeBob mentality to Squidward mentality? When did you switch from?
That's an easy one.
I've never really changed, actually. I don't know. I'm quite optimistic.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're still enjoying it quite a bit. We got some guests joining us in the studio today, but we'll just don't worry. Don't mind them. They're just
Okay.
the paparazzi.
Paparazzi.
We'll just keep it filming.
Cameras. Yeah.
All right. So, okay, but how did you feel when you first got to the job? You feel me?
Right. So my company is very like traditional Japanese company. So
You're the first white dude in the company's
yeah,
history.
and on top of that, actually the interviewer, the guy in charge of recruiting, he came in to interview and he said that I was the first American he's ever met. And I misunderstood.
That's crazy.
I misunderstood and thought he was my boss. So I was telling my friends, like, dude, my boss, he's never met an American.
You're jumping forward like as conservative as it gets in Japan.
Yeah, right. So the beginning, a lot of companies, they have like this, new employee training, like Shinjin Kenshu, right? And it's like a month long.
What do you call it?
Shinjin Kenshu.
Shinjin Kenshu.
Yeah. So
Kenshu.
and it was really strict. It's lightened up a bit, I think, appropriately, but it was really strict.
Give some examples, bro.
So for me, I was private. I was previous Army, so it wasn't a big deal. But like one thing that really stood out was there was a few girls that were late to like the class, to like the session in the morning, and they punished them by making them do squats. And I was like, this is like the Army.
Whoa, this is just a company.
Yeah, and then
How many though?
I wasn't. We couldn't watch.
okay.
Yeah,
We weren't okay. At least they weren't.
yeah. You don't want to stay around. Yeah, but there was this one time they give you like this simulation, this exercise that you can't pass. Like there's like a score, like imagine like 70. If you get below 70, you fail. It's like that. But you're set up for failure. You will fail. And every single group, we're split up in groups, right? We all fail, of course. And they were like, all right, since you all failed, which is unacceptable in the business environment, where even if you put in 100%, you might still fail.
gosh.
Everyone stand up, face the wall, and think about your failure for 5 minutes. And I was just like, face the wall. too easy. But like the Japanese, they weren't used to that, and they were like sort of freaking out.
Yes.
They would like raise their hands, and then they were ignored. But one guy was like, "Can we return to receipts?" And they were just like, "No, put your hand down." So I was like, dang.
Wow, man. It sounds very, very like fraternity-esque.
Yeah, it does.
Did they make you drink as well? Probably. Maybe not made
It's
you,
part
but-
of like like the work culture to like go out,
right,
yeah.
right.
But I don't
All right.
mind that.
All right, so you go through all this training. How are you feeling at this time? Are you still excited to be working at a Japanese company? Were you?
Week 1
Just
finishes.
nervousness times 1,000 because you'd be put on the spot to answer questions in Japanese in front of 150 other Japanese,
Right.
and
You're the one that doesn't speak Japanese naturally.
and for me, man, if I get nervous, like my level drops. Now I have no problems, but it took a while for me to and so
So
a lot of nervousness.
like, yeah, I'm just really excited about this conversation because people need to understand. You have, like he said, 100. He had 150 Japanese people looking at him, and
Judging him.
Facts. Because traditional company, they're looking at him like, oh my God, like they're already thinking, Japanese people already think like, yo, does he speak Japanese, or like,
For sure.
you know what I'm saying? Can I understand him because he's a foreigner?
Like,
There's all these different,
Let's see what this whitey's got.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so, but yeah, so like the pressure in the room, I can't even imagine.
A lot, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is.
I ended up pressuring myself more than what the others expected because they already had that type of like
exactly.
perception. So they were like, wow, he speaks Japanese amazing. But here I am.
Right.
I messed something up and I'm like, I feel like an idiot, So
Well, yeah, I bet you feel motivated because you're the only foreigner in there to kind of show the Japanese that Americans aren't all the same, you know what I'm saying? Or the stereotype that they had is not what you think, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, I'm sure, yeah, that also motivated you because, yeah, man, like we want to make a good impression on the Japanese. And so like we need like good people like Josh.
Give us our permanent residency visas.
Yeah, man, we
can
want those
contribute
permanent.
to society.
Yeah. Okay, but boom. All right. So again,
Staff. Jumping back into staff. Making
No.
an impression. No, because it was
Okay.
making an impression on the people you work with, but you were saying that typically you made it more stressful for yourself, really, in that sense.
yeah, I don't know. I guess I put the highest like criteria on myself.
as we
Yeah.
all do,
As we do.
for all creatives out there or just human beings, you know what I'm saying? Give yourself a break. You're doing great.
You're doing wonderful. What did it? I want that on a T-shirt. I just want your face. Being like,
It's
"Give yourself
Japan.
a
There's
break."
probably one somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Give yourself a
Yo,
break.
but yeah, no. So if you are unfamiliar, the Japanese working culture is very, very kibishi and difficult, and people get stressed. Like during the winter time, a lot of people commit suicide. They jump in front of trains because they are so stressed from work. And like, let me tell you, because
Societal
it's
pressures.
crazy, right? Because the Japanese people think, right? Okay, my boss is staying past the designated work hours. I need to stay as long as he does. If he doesn't leave, I don't leave. And I'm sure we all
You
work.
got all this insight, man, but you ain't never worked at a Japanese.
Big
company.
facts.
I want to hear from you,
don't
man.
do full time.
Tell me about the pressures. Tell me about what are some of the
Well,
pressures you faced as
yeah.
a Japanese corporation.
I mean, I got
other than the stereotypes and Zane's information.
So I got lucky because I work in they categorize Japanese companies by like black companies and white companies.
That sounds
Right.
messed up.
That
I
is
don't
very-
I don't like.
Sorry,
it.
Zane.
I don't like it. We need to blend it.
Yeah, sorry, Zane,
What is
sorry,
the
Zane.
difference between a black and a white company?
So yeah, like the black companies are basically what Zane was just describing. Lots of overtime, a lot of unpaid overtime because overtime has to get paid. By the law
So
here.
you're saying the black companies are the bad ones?
They're the very bad
That's
ones.
messed up, Japan.
Sorry, Zane.
That's messed up, man.
I'm
Come
fine.
on, guys.
Color,
Come on.
color
So-
means nothing to me.
So the black companies are ones that have these kind of work infringements where they make the
Yes.
like the stereotypical.
They're the companies
Right.
that become infamous for the work death by overwork, which is becoming less and less in Japan.
Karoshi.
I was
Which
gonna say,
is
how do you
good.
say it in Japanese?
Karoshi.
Karoshi.
Yeah.
So
Death by
karoshi.
overwork.
Yeah, and then
Death
the
by
opposite-
overwork.
Do you have an example of one of the black companies? Can we out one of them? so we can tell
I mean,
our
it's
viewers
like-
don't work for this company?
I don't want to say that because they can change, but
Is it something like the
it's
big
like
corporates?
yeah, I mean, it's news, it's public information. I mean, there's one company that had a pretty bad rep at least a couple of years ago. It's like Fujitsu was one of them. Now it could have changed because they've had a lot of backlash,
Right.
which is good, I think.
Shame.
Which it wasn't like that before, so there was no backlash. So companies didn't change, but I'm lucky to work at the opposite, a white company. Not only that, but they get like top white company award from the government every year. So actually last month I worked only 5 hours of overtime in the entire month, and they got mad at me because if I work more than 3 hours, I'm supposed to apply for overtime, and I didn't apply, and they got mad at me.
Okay.
They got mad at you for not requesting more money from them, basically.
They're really strict with profits, which I think is a good way to go about it. And I have so much vacation.
Right.
I get 21 days paid leave every year, and I can stack it for 3 years. So right now I have like 42 days stacked up right now, on top of a full week for Obon, Shogatsu, and Golden Week.
So the 21 days are not including the main 3 holidays.
They're not.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it sounds like none of you get anything done at that company.
No, actually, our profits are really amazing right now.
Because you're at the company, obviously.
Oh, well, thank you.
Of course. So
All right.
a random question before you jump in, because I know you're itching
got
to say
tons.
something.
I'm itching.
But I want to know just quickly off the top of your head, give me an example of one of your best experiences at a Japanese corporate and one of your like worst, what is this type situation? Like give me a pro and a con if you can. Or
Okay.
from personal experience.
I'll do a con first, and then I'll end up on a more positive note.
Good, nice.
Yeah, so as a con, I got a couple episodes, so it's kind of hard to pick one. But I remember one of the things that shocked me was there's like this overall atmosphere that mistakes are just not tolerated at all. And the things that they consider mistakes are things that wouldn't even be noticed in an American company.
Right. Facts.
Yeah,
So
and I have worked in
American.
the U.S., so it's, yeah.
Like what? Give me an example.
So, yeah, for this specific episode, I was in HR, right? And so we were doing some training. I don't remember the type because it's been a couple of years, but we were doing a training. And so people from like different, buildings, different like departments and stuff would come to our building. So they need to know where the training room is. Just really simple. So you can rent like these stands and put a sign on them. It says like, go this way to the room, right? Very, very simple stuff. And I rented out the stand, but once the training was over, I thought I returned it. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But like they came to my desk one day when I was working, some senpai, and then my boss, and they were like, "You didn't return the stand, did you?" And I was like, "I thought I did." And they just were just like, chewing me out in front of like 70 people because I didn't return a stand. And I don't even remember if I did or not, to be honest. And they were just like, they were like, "Don't deny it. We know you didn't return the stand. If you're gonna say something, at least just say you forgot. Don't try to say."
Can you tell me in Japanese a little, bro? Because I'm trying to understand how Japanese people get upset, like in a work environment. Because Japanese people don't really show their true feelings. So like
Until they kill you.
until they kill you. What did they say in Jap? Was it like passive aggressive or was it like straight like, "Yo, you don't do this"?
How dare you?
It was more like that one, the second one.
really?
Quite very direct.
Oh.
And I got flustered because I learned that us Americans, we have, it's called like self-respect sort of. So it's like you don't want to be chewed out in front of other people.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's not like that in Japan. They don't have this. So being chewed out in front of other people is like normal for them. So
Really?
yeah, and I
would
like
feel
kind of
like
barked back. I was just like,
For sure, the community.
yeah,
you know?
I barked back, and then it turned to this thing, and the whole like workroom just got dead quiet, and I was like, I got chewed out this much in front of everyone because of a stand. Like, and hypothetically, if I didn't even return it, it's not a big deal. Just go walk downstairs and put it in the room. Like,
It was probably the other guy. They just blamed him.
So yeah, but
and
that's
yeah, that also did happen quite a bit. Yeah.
that's
It
so
was the
they
white
treat
guy.
you. They treat you. But they treated you like a Japanese person though. Like
Yes
as
and
when
no.
they chewed you out.
Yes and no, because I noticed after a couple of years that if a Japanese coworker would have done the same mistake that I did, they would have just laughed it off. But if I did it, I get a 30-minute lecture by my boss. So I
Sounds
changed
like they're-
departments though, and the atmosphere was completely different.
So it could have just been that.
It was.
Specific.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I feel like
His ex-wife.
you're
Foreigner after him. He's held a grudge forever.
I feel like, yeah, that's like the experience with Japan, right? You know, you could look at it negative, like the way that they treated you, and say like, oh, they treat all foreigners like this, but it's not true. You know, like there's that gray area. You know what I'm saying? You got your stereotypes, you know, but then there's a gray area. So like, Josh's situation is very special. And you can see he went through all the different rings, man. He learned the Japanese. He did all the tests. You know what I'm saying? He was doing it exactly how the Japanese wanted, man. And that's not easy coming from an American, especially Texas. Yeehaw!
Dude, we got it. Like, what's awesome now, like
The level just amps up every time.
The viewers at home can't see this, but like we have like studio guests at Courtney, like, and we made that sound in the beginning of this episode, and it was a bunch of laughs. But the people that are here now are just like, what the hell? We're getting a soundboard.
Yeah, we're playing all the stereotypes.
We're
today.
gonna get all of Zane's little outbursts on a soundboard, so we can just press buttons. And
That'd
get
be
Yes.
super
big
fire. That's
Texas.
the next. That's the next
Sound
step
bites.
for
Yeehaw.
Kansai Collective.
But backpacking off what you're saying, man, you can't generalize, right? I mean, you can say, oh, they're treating me this way because they're a foreigner, or that boss could just be excuse my language, a
douchebag.
dickhead. You know, he
Douchebag.
could just not
Yeah.
A
be
baka, an aho.
Because like you said, you switch departments and it's totally different. So
Yeah,
it's-
so like I went from a place where I felt like I was alone, like I had to
This is the
defend
first
myself.
department?
Yeah,
Right.
I had to defend myself against everyone. There was no one to back me up. And then I switched departments, and it's like super supportive.
what
I
was the
haven't
first
had.
department you were in?
I was in HR,
And then you switched to
global marketing.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Seems
And
a
it
bit
has
more
nothing to
appropriate
do
for a
with
foreigner.
HR. It was just the people that I worked with the most, even in Japanese standards, were just, different.
They
so,
were just wet carrots, basically.
All right, what was the best experience?
That was the negative one. Yeah,
Oh,
so-
the best experience is recent. So work is going really well. I got awarded like a department award in the performance awards. So
Let's go
For what?
America, baby.
Performance? Let's
Americans
go, let's
here.
go America.
We in here, bro.
which
Infiltrate.
is, it's pretty rare. And you get like blasted in front of everyone like this dude, he's doing it right. Yeah, so
You guys need to be more like Josh. Nice, excellent.
yeah, so it's really going good right now. Yeah, and I get to learn a lot of the science side as well because I've expressed interest and been studying. So they're letting me mess with the instruments, and I'm learning like chemistry and physics right now, which I did not expect to be doing. If someone would have told me 5 years ago you'd be in a Japanese biotechnology, working in global marketing, learning quantum physics, I'd be like,
Love it.
What?
Love it. Nice.
Yeah,
You know,
so-
one thing.
Get paid to learn, man. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
One thing, Asa, you always talk about is like with Japanese companies, they want to see on your resume that you stay with one company rather than you're staying with a lot of
Bounce- well,
companies.
yeah, bouncing around typically has a negative image.
How do you plan on staying with this company for a while? Like,
So a big thing for me is like believing in the product, and I really like the products at the company. I think they're amazing.
So you're not going to be selling snake oil, basically.
Yeah,
Could
no.
morally, you can't do that. Right?
Like I'm not even. Well, technically, I'm sort of indirect sales because I'm marketing, but like I'm not even sales. But I would like definitely sell the product to people because I think it's amazing. So if I could, I would stay for sure. And pay goes up slightly every year. That's how it
Okay.
works.
But
That's a good
inflation's also
question.
jumping through the roof right now.
hold on, that's a good point. So there's growth. You can see yourself growing in this company. There's enough growth for you as a foreigner in this company. You don't see like a ceiling. You reach a ceiling anytime soon.
He's doing the head
yeah.
bobble, maybe.
So, becoming a manager in a Japanese corporation, even though my boss says that it's possible, that's sort of a barrier. At least I feel
as
it
a
is.
foreigner?
As a foreigner.
Right. I can't. I feel as
Maybe
though I
I'm
would
mistaken.
agree.
Maybe my department would be more open to that.
I'd say you're in a really good situation because you're one of the few foreigners in the company. You're in global marketing. You said you have a great product. Eventually, you're going to go international. You feel me? Japan is on the world map. People want to come here. People want to work with Japan. you know?
It's an international company.
You feel me? So I feel like, maybe within this little section of the company, you might not be able to grow. But first of all, you think way different than the Japanese people. and that's going to allow you to see something else that they can't see. So possibly, when they're trying to maybe go to another country, you would be the person that they would hire to do that work.
Yeah, that's half of my work is like sort of working with like our partners from overseas.
Like international ones.
I mean, one of the big things is that I'm native English speaker, and it's not just the language.
Here you go. This is our English speaker.
It's not just the language; it's the business culture.
Right.
It's the small things, like when you have a meeting with someone in the West or most countries, it's really normal to have like small talk at the beginning. Build a relationship.
Right.
But they don't do that in Japan, and whenever
Oh, it's the worst. Yeah.
other companies they try to talk to the Japanese, it's just like really awkward because they don't know what to do.
Right.
Stuff like
Facts.
that is where I really come in.
Facts.
I've
So
actually,
you're the token white guy.
in a way, yeah, because I've saved the company a lot of money because I build these relationships, and these companies will give me discounts because of this. So
Because you're Josh.
Fire.
Right.
So
Love it,
Josh,
love it.
with all that being said, you worked super hard. You went to Ritsumeikan. You came. You studied Japanese. ちょっと日本語確認しましょう。
何の確認
お名前は何ですか？
お名前
ですか？
そこのレベル。名前はジョシュア。
ジョシュアは仕事何しますか？
分析計測事業部でグローバルマーケティングを
すごい。
やってる。そう。グ
めっちゃ
ローバルマーケティング部で勤めてる。
すごいな。
自然な。
日本語どうやってその上手になるんですか？
でしょうね。
日本語の副専攻と立命館に行って、日本語の2年間の内容を半年で学んだっていうインテンシブコースっていう、名前通りのコース、インテンシブで学んできて、どうやろう、笑い系、日本の笑い系が大好き。笑い系と例えば、まっちゃんと浜ちゃんと相席食堂とか、ガキツカとか、滑りの話とか、もし日本人が見てくれてるなら、絶対してると思うけど、そう。It's like Japanese comedy.
すごい。What's your JLPT level?
I've never taken JLPT.
He don't need that. He don't need that. He did that.
No, actually, for lots of companies, you do need it. You need it to apply.
That's not true. Not for the white companies.
In my experience, I never had a single company like ask me for JLPT.
Oh,
they just evaluated you based on the interview. Yeah, if you could
so
speak, you're good. Like if you could communicate. Yeah,
that's beautiful. So he just basically said he went to Ritsumeikan. He took an intensive course. He also likes comedian,
natural cultural stuff.
Yeah,
Kansai culture. I love it.
Okay, jumping back into the Kansai Collective. What do you love about Kansai? Joshua, please tell us.
The comedy, yeah.
The comedy.
In Japan, Kansai they're the king of comedy.
Right.
100%.
You cannot, but it's extremely unlikely to be a successful comedian in Japan unless you are from Kansai. There's little to no comedians that are famous.
And like variety TV, if someone from like Kanto comes, they actually joke about it. Like the other Japanese, they'll be like, "Where are you from again?"
Yeah, they're like, that makes sense. Yeah, you're not that funny. Yeah.
So
like,
all right,
come here for the laughs, guys. That's the one reason to come to Kansai.
To close this up. Like someone who wants to come and work in a Japanese company who is motivated as you, what advice would you give them?
Tips and tricks of the trade.
Yeah, if they want to work for a Japanese white company.
White company.
Or the black ones, man. Just make your life stressful. Be a man,
Sometimes you don't know. It's a gamble. But man, that's a hard question.
Other than, and you can't,
I
won't let you cop out and say learn Japanese, though. Other than learning Japanese, what do you highly recommend to someone who has intentions to work in a Japanese company?
Man, if possible, befriend Japanese that also want to go through job hunting together. That'll help you because they'll teach you tips and tricks.
Don't put all the pressure to learn it on yourself.
Though, to be fair, the company that I work at now, I did all that by myself because I came to Japan and did that. But before that, a lot of
flex.
Yeah, that's a flex. I don't even know if I passed the test, to be honest.
But go through with a friend because they can definitely give you some insight.
It's just hard work. I mean, you're just accept the fact that you might be turned down literally because you're a foreigner. Don't cry about it. Just accept it. And just push through. So if you have to apply at 100 companies, like I did, if you want it that bad, you'll get it. If there's a will, there's a way.
You got to get 100 no's for one yes.
So that sounds harsh to some people, but I really think that's what it is. Do you
also,
want it that much?
That's also, I mean, but that just applies to so much.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
You gotta
Yeah.
like in these days, you know, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. If you're getting discouraged because one person said no, then you know you might as well
that's a
just
good
cause in the
fact.
towel. Yeah, get used to people saying no and keep at it. Right. So. Props, guys. Again, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Kansai Collective. Josh, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for joining in.
Yes, thank you.
Big shout
Thank
out
you
to
for
our
having me.
sponsors, Tomo Murasawa here at the deck in Honmachi, Osaka, Japan.
Making
Thank
it
you for
happen.
making it happen. Thank you for the
Yes.
wonderful studio space, all this equipment to bring you guys more episodes. Edge Wilderness, Aaron, our producer, making sure that we get all the funny little tidbits and all the episodes are shaped up. Hinomaru with the clothing, Zane, of course, and Dronax Kabushigaisho, myself, Asa. If you guys like this episode, feel free to tune in more, subscribe, share.
Like,
Check
share,
out
comment,
our podcast
all
on
that.
Spotify. I think it's on Apple Podcasts now.
It is?
I'm not.
Let's check
Maybe
that.
not. We'll check. But you guys know where to find us. If you'd like it, tell your friends, share, comment, let us know what you think, and be sure to check out the next
Show
episode.
you how
Kansai
it's
Collective.
done. Kansai Collective. West side of Japan, we out here coolin'. Zane and Nasa got connections. We know you got